Welcome back to base camp, WNC. Well, my solar powered pond pumps finally came in, and we're here in the Aquaponics greenhouse that just has not quite worked out the way it was kind of started off. The boy who put it up did an excellent job on the greenhouse, but here's part of the pump graveyard. These pumps are lasting about 2, maybe 3 weeks. There's one in this set of tanks and one in the other one they just bought, and there's a whole pile up on the hill. So what we've decided to do is a couple things with the greenhouse. It runs somewhere around about $150 a month to power that ventilation fan, the pump that controls this side of the system, one that controls this side of the system, the air pump, and the heaters in the tanks aren't even in yet. When they start putting them 4 1,500 watt heaters in the tanks, it sends the electric bill through the roof. So what we've decided to do, the place here has a hot water boiler system, and we're going to run the line down from the hot water boiler system into the tanks to heat the water from the wood-fired furnace. And then this over here is actually the solar powered pond pump, and I've just got it sitting on these milk crates right here. I've got it bolted onto there, and then it hooks into the manifold down here that comes up, and I'll turn all this stuff on. And I put 2 check valves in, so whether the solar pump's running or the electric pump's running, the one doesn't have to be shut off for the other one to come on. And I'm going to show you a picture and kind of go over some of the problems with the system. Is the pump he has in there right now, one of them is this thing right here, if I can get the sun out of the picture, and it pumps 4,400 gallons an hour. The owner says he has to shut the system down to feed the fish, because when he throws the fish food on the water, the pump sucks it in and either stops the pump and the fish can't eat the food fast enough. When I get done, I'll turn all this back on, turn the sound off on the camera, and let you see this thing flow and run. But the water moves so fast, they can't put little fish in there. So things just haven't quite been right. They can't seem to get it to work good. So we're going to try to go solar and get rid of this electric bill. The energy bill, like I said, is way too high. It's not exactly sustainable at that rate. But it is surprising how the vegetables grow. Because I mean, right now, even with it off, you only have about 8-inch depth, and the water's about 6 inches deep in them tanks. So what we're looking at doing is, instead of the electric pump running 24 hours a day and burning these pumps up because they're not really made for it, we're going to go with a solar pump. And as you see now, the sun's starting to come up, and I'm going to put this back down in the water and hook the panel up, and it's going to pump as long as the sun shines, because all it does is pump water from the tanks into his cleaning system here, and then it flows in this line right up here on the back end. It flows into it, and then there's a header pipe here on the back end here that flows into all these beds. We'll crank that thing up and let you watch that thing run with the electric pump. But this way, the solar pump will do it just enough to pump all the fish water into the tanks during the sunshine. And then when the sun goes down, of course, those pumps will stop, because they're going to be strictly solar powered. We're going to try that. And then we have sitting right here, I can get out of the sunshine and get it, is an air pump. It's going to be plugged in, battery backup on a battery system, and there's a air stone in every one of the tanks. So then all night long, there's no water coming down to aerate the water. It'll be just the air in the fish tank then from the air pump. And we're going to try that system and see if this kind of gets things working better than what they're doing right now. So let me go ahead and get down on my belly, hook this pump back up down here, and turn some of this stuff on and show you what it looks like running. Well, this is the pump the owner just bought. And it's a 2,000 gallon per hour pump. This is a smaller pump, figuring they were too bad, they're too big. It's in this system here now, and this is it running. Of course, it comes up through this big drum that's got some kind of spin cleaner in it to get stuff out. There's the water coming in there, and he's got the valve throttles back. Water pours in here, and then it flows back down into the fish tank. But then that line comes under the floor, comes up, and feeds these beds, and it's this one here flowing, and two, and in here. Then they drain back down through the floor, and they drain back into the fish tank. And that's how this system here looks with the electric pump running, and that's the 2,000 gallon per hour pump. Let's see if we can get this other one to work here. So here it is with the 4,400 gallon pump running on this side of the system. It flows, as you can see. I mean, there's so much water it backs way up into the tubs. And of course it's flowing in these two beds. But here it is in the tank, and you can see the aerator right there and the flow of the water. As you can tell, you can at least hear the sound of it, maybe. But it moves water so hard and so fast, the fish can't seem to survive in it. And it can't keep up with the fish food. And I did forget to mention, I mounted that pump up on top of those soda crates so that the pump sits almost 2 foot off the bottom of the tank. The other part of the problem in the system was the electric pumps are sitting on the very bottom. And then instead of gluing the pipe, what the guy did is he would just put silicone all over the pipe and shove the fittings together. And this side over here has a leak. So if you don't keep putting water in, it pumps the system down, and the fish of course die because there's no water in the tank. Now that solar pump I put in has a run dry feature, so that when the water gets down to the sensor on that little pump box, it shuts off. So if anything goes and leaks, there'll at least be 2 foot of water, and these two tanks here are connected with a common pipe. So there'll be 2 foot of water in this pump and tank left, 2 foot of water in that tank left, and it has the air stones in there. So even if a pump breaks or comes apart, the fish don't get pumped, all the water doesn't get pumped out, and they all don't die. So that's an improvement in the system. And hopefully the sun's just starting to peek out. We're going to hook the panels up now, and we're going to let you see what this thing looks like with the solar pumps running. Well, here it is. Here's the system running with the solar pump. And about this head on this thing right there, it's pumping about 700 gallons an hour. And we got water, of course, coming out into this bin. We got water coming down. We're flowing out of this valve into this tank. We're flowing out of this valve into this tank. We got water flowing in here, but they do have these valves cut down. We got water flowing into this one. More than enough. And number 3 is flowing. And number 4 here is flowing. Now remember, all it's got to do, in my theory, or whatever, is enough to pump the fish poo water up onto the greens one good time a day. And that's it. This one over here, if you can see from the bright glare of the sunshine, the sun finally came up. This one's running right here. This one's flowing down here. And I think all he has is this water hyacinth in here. On this one here, that one there is flowing. This one's flowing, and that one's flowing. So we'll wait for him to come over here and give his opinion on what and all and everything he thinks. Don't know if he's gonna like it or not, but it works. It's solar. There's no electricity, no grid. I did move the panels again, and we're down here on this post thinking about putting a whole solar array across, because this is also the place that's getting those sun powered hot water heaters, the 1,000-watt SIBO inverters. So we're going to be putting that in next, trying to get it going. Looking at a solar powered fan, and we're going to take that thing out and move it up to the top where it should be, because it's kind of got a big pocket of hot air trapped up there. But of course it'll be solar powered. Of course it gets hot when the sun shines, so when the sun shines the fan comes on and runs with the thermostat. This one's just plugged in, it's on all the time. So, and there's no way right now it's going to be at 40 degrees this weekend, and there's no shutters or anything else on the back side, so I don't know how that's supposed to work. But after 20-some years of having a nursery and a farm and watching my farm podcast and growing millions of plants, I just try to bring some of that knowledge into this application and try to go from here. But we're going to keep going at it. We'll bring up another thing and see how it all works, and we'll put another episode up after the man gets over here and tells me his opinion of everything. So as usual, like it, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. We're going to be working on the hot water heater here next, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching.